Hey, thanks for watching this short video on the squeeze play. It actually only has 3 E's in it, 2 in the middle, 1 at the end. Doesn't have 15 E's in it. Bit childish that. My name's Nick from TransformMyPoker.com, and in this short video I'm going to talk to you about a play that can really help your levels of aggression and the amount of chips that you pick up at the poker table when you actually don't have a strong hand. This is a pre-flop bluff. You can do it with deep stacks or you can do it with shallow stacks. The general idea is that you are putting pressure on 2 players who are in the pot in front of you. So let's draw a poker table. 100% accurate, freehand circle. They said it couldn't be done without a machine. Let's say we've got a raiser here. So this is our raiser. And we've got a second player here who has called the raise. So you've got a raise and then a call. Anytime you're sitting at a poker table and you see this pattern in front of you, a raise and then a call, you should immediately think, can I squeeze here? Can I squeeze here? And whether or not you can is going to be determined by what you think of these players, the chip stacks and your cards. So let's say we're sitting here. We're going to ask whether or not we can squeeze. Squeeze question mark. So a squeeze is just a raise after a raise and a call. It's called a squeeze play. I think it was called a squeeze play initially because it puts pressure on this middle player and this first player. But really it's just a way of kind of exerting a little bit more pressure than you would with a normal bluff. I'll tell you why. The first player has to worry not only about your raise, but also about the player still to act behind him, right? Because maybe this guy flat called with a strong hand as well, and you've shown a lot of strength. So it's very, very hard for the first player to continue without a strong hand. The second player has to worry that you have shown enormous strength, right? So if the first player folds, the second player gets squeezed as well. Really the most pressure is put on the first raiser, but that's good because the first raiser is indicating the strongest hand. The person that's flat called has already shown weakness. The way that this is the most ideal to execute is if the first player is a loose raiser, so if he's kind of coming in with a lot of hands, and if the second player is a predictable player, because his flat call of the first raise means that he's not super strong. So anytime you see a raise from a loose player and a flat call from a predictable player, you should really be thinking, okay, I could squeeze here. So there's 2 ways to do this, with deep stack and with shallow stacks. With deep stacks, say more than 40 big blinds, you can raise, let's say 4 times the initial raise. So if this initial raise is 100, you can make it about 400. That's a rule of thumb. You can adjust that up or down. And you should be more willing to make this raise in position. So let's say if we've got the button, because that means if you do get called, you'll be in position post-flop. You can make it from the blinds, but this is probably the best place to make it from. I would really experiment with this deep stacked and really try it in a number of different spots. It's best done if your hand has some value, like a suited connector or an ace or something like that, just in case you are called. But you'll find that it's really successful, especially against players who have kind of 40 to 50 big blinds and aren't going to want to get super involved. If players are really deep stacked, then they might just call and see a flop a lot more often. But do experiment with it. It can be very powerful. You can also use this short stacked, although it's a little bit more of a high risk play because it involves moving all in. If you have something between 15 and 25 big blinds and you have a raise and a call in front of you, it can be a very good spot to shove. Now, again, you want these 2 players to have wider ranges so they can't call you too often. And it also helps if these 2 players have a chip stack where it's a big decision for them. So if your shove is 20 big blinds, you want these 2 guys to have somewhere between 20 and 40 big blinds themselves, so it's hard for them to call. But both these plays, with deep stack and with short stack, can be amazing ways to pick up a lot of free chips. There's a little bit of risk involved. It is a re-raise. You are risking a decent amount of chips, especially if you're doing it short stacked. But you'll be surprised at how often you're successful. Go and experiment with it. That's the key to improving in poker generally. Make sure you experiment with these plays and don't worry if they don't work the first couple of times. There's no right or wrong in this. This is about finding ways to add aggression to your game. And especially if you've got a tight image in these situations, you will be amazed at how often this works and how many free chips you pick up. All right. Have fun with it. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, let's make this arrangement official. Hit subscribe. You can do it right underneath this video or on this link. And if you're ready to take your game to the next level and you'd like some advanced training with more detail than I've had time to give you here that can really make an impact on your game, then come over to my website, TransformMyPoker.com, TransformMyPoker.com, click right here. Sign up using your email and I will send you instantly a free series of training videos to really give you a big jump forward in your game. All right, I can't wait to talk to you in another one of these very soon. Good luck at the tables and take it easy.